So we need an investment innovation mindset to build these companies with significantly less amount of money than what the VCs would use to build, so that you can return great returns to people rather than wasting your money with the traditional VC model. We are seeing a level of disruption to our world that is equivalent to the moment of inventing electricity.
Wow. That's a powerful statement.
I think our generation and the previous generation haven't seen something as powerful and wide.
If you're not currently up to speed with what AI can do, you need to take one person today and dedicate them full time to all they do for the next year is research AI and how it can apply to your company. Otherwise, 12 months from now, you're going to wake up obsolete.
If you have a pitch deck, you're late for us. So if you have an idea and you have a space, the one thing that we want is why you and this industry and this space. I don't need a very specific idea, but I want a space.
Did you know there's a technology that's actually an app on your phone that uses sound waves to tell your brain what you want your brain to do? We had a young man that was on a guest on our podcast, the Mike Litton Experience, who had a traumatic brain injury. He was sleeping 3 hours a night. He's using NewCalm now and he's sleeping more. Go to newcalm.com, Mike15 promo code. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. Mike is passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
Amir Barsoum, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I'm super excited for our time together. And like we talked about before we hit record, everybody has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. So with your permission, we're going to start with where you were born, go up to today, and we want to talk about this amazing company that you have and some of the amazing breakthroughs that you've had. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you very much for the invite. Very excited to be here and in this amazing show. So
where were you born?
So I was born in Cairo, Egypt.
Okay.
Spent most of my childhood there, and then started pharmacy in Cairo. Did a Master of Marketing also there in one of the top schools there called the American University in Cairo, and then. My career took me. I had my first company, exited, joined McKinsey. Most of my time was McKinsey was between Europe and I spent most of the time around London, Brussels, and this area. Did some pharma company with AstraZeneca, also was around Europe, and then did Visita, which I went back again to the region. That's when I built the health tech player of the Middle East region. During this time, I did my master's and my MBA in MIT Sloan Boston.
Wow.
And then after the exit, I moved to SoCal, where we put together InVitro Capital. So that's the journey. Kind of try to touch different parts of the world. So.
Yeah. So do you mind if we go back real quick?
Of course.
So what was your favorite thing about growing up in Cairo?
I think it's a pretty big city. And it has the very strong local appeal of it as a city and the whole cultural piece. That's the city that has the pyramids, Cairo and Giza, but it's the greater Cairo. We think about it as one city. So I would say it has a very strong cultural piece, but at the same time, because of its location, it's also pretty metropolitan, because many of the region's headquarters are actually being there. So I think the mix was fascinating. I love the food there. That's also one other thing. We can talk about that later.
Food's always a good thing, right? It's always, right? We can never miss the food part.
Exactly.
So growing up, who was the most influential person to you?
It's definitely my dad.
Yeah.
I grew up. My dad was he owned a small chain of pharmacies.
Mhm.
So he was an entrepreneur, and my entire life, I was always thinking that I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. At that time, we didn't know the word. Like we were not even using the word entrepreneur. We were using the word businessman.
Mhm.
Um, and I think he was the most influential person to me. We also come from a very interesting group. I don't want to go this route, but we come from a very interesting. I mean, smaller group from the Christians in Egypt.
Mhm.
So it was a bit of a smaller group in the country, and I think my dad was a very controversial person. He always has his own ideas, and he goes outside the norm. I would say, and I think that made me also think, oh, it's pretty interesting not to be in the norm. I want to be like that. I want to have my own thoughts about things in life. And when you come from minority groups, it actually helps you because you're not part of the bigger groups.
Mhm.
So it also was a very interesting angle. Um, and also it taught me seeing my dad as an entrepreneur. It taught me how you can create a fascinating life
Mhm.
while you're integrating work in it. So I'm kind of one of those people who don't believe in the concept of the work-life balance.
Mhm.
I believe that work and life are integral. If you're happy in one, you're gonna be it will have a spillover effect in the other and the other way around.
Mhm.
And I think that's a big part of how to be a successful entrepreneur because it just never stops. At 5 p.m. it doesn't stop.
Right. No kidding, right? For anybody who owns their own business, I think they know that,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, so in high school, did you have a favorite subject?
Um, I'd say math by far. Math was my most favorite subject. I started pharmacy because I was always thinking, I'm gonna take over my dad's business.
Mhm.
Not because I was choosing it, because it's my favorite subject. My favorite subject was by far algebra, geometry, calculus. That's for sure was my favorite subject.
Any idea why your dad became a businessman?
Um, in the developing markets,
Mhm.
it is very difficult. The corporate opportunities
Mhm.
are not abundant.
Yeah.
Also, it needs a lot of, as anywhere in the world, it needs network and it needs
Mhm.
connections. And my dad is a self-made man. I mean, he,
Mhm.
he doesn't have this network. So it was easier for him to think, I'm going to build something on my own,
Mhm.
and take it from there. That's the one thing. The second, there's a fascinating book called The Psychology of Money. I think it's a fascinating book.
Mhm.
Uh, when you come from a mindset of scarcity of resources,
Mhm.
you think resources are not abundant. Especially when you come from a not very wealthy family, or you're raised in countries that are not that doesn't have a very high GDP per capita. This becomes part of who you are.
Mhm.
So you always think about, I want to diversify my base of income, not because you want to make a lot of income, but because you're afraid.
You're protecting, yeah.
You're afraid. You're afraid
Yeah.
that they're going to vanish. So my dad, for almost 20 years of his life in his career, he was actually an employee
Mm.
while he's running his business, and his idea was never about wealth or prosperity. His idea is downside protection.
Mhm.
And I think at a point of time he decided that I want to focus more on my private business.
Mhm.
That's when, and I think it was pretty late in his career he did that,
Mhm.
but that's when it was significantly better
Yeah.
for himself. But I don't think even he did this decision because he wanted prosperity. It's just he felt that it's very difficult to run his own business while he's spending 9 to 5 job, and he decided to choose. And so yeah,
What did he do as a 9 to 5 job?
he was working in a pharma company, in a big
Okay.
multinational pharma company. And he, he was growing in the business development function in this. He was responsible for most of the big governmental deals and the public insurance and the military insurances deals in the country.
So the pharmacy thing was almost it was natural, right? But it was almost like you said, it's almost an insurance policy. Like it was just, right? And then he gets to where he's done it for 20 years and all of a sudden it's like, I've been doing this for 20 years, might as well take this and run with it, And he probably learned a lot of the lessons that he needed to learn along the way, right? So that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Did you have a favorite teacher in high school?
I think my most favorite teacher was actually a math teacher who was actually teaching algebra. And I think he was amazing teacher. And I think I used to tell him, when he gave us some tests and I was like, these tests are super easy. I can get done with that in 10 minutes and you're giving us an hour. And he was like, one of the things that happened is, it's a very interesting story. I was like, you know what? He put on the whiteboard of the class, he pinned some cash, and he told me, okay, so I'm gonna give you a new one, and if you make this one in an hour, I'm gonna give you this cash, and that's a very difficult test. So it was very challenging. He pushed me to the edge. He was amazing teacher. And by the way, I took the money, so that was a good thing.
You got the money?
I got the money.
Good job, buddy. Good job. That'll lay. See, he knew how to seed the capitalist in you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it, man. I love it. I love how teachers reach people. It's just really cool. It's cool to hear. So after high school, you go to American University, is that right, in Cairo?
I studied pharmacy.
Okay.
Bachelor of pharmacy. I was at that time, I was a typical nerd. I study very hard. I ace all my exams. Like I don't think that I had a choice. I think my mom played a significant role in that. She was like, you're gonna study every single minute of your day. Don't think about anything else. I used to play a lot of sports as well. But that's it. Studying and sports, that's the only thing where the options available. I think I discovered life when I went to college, but that happened later. So I got into the pharmacy school, which was actually it's the top school in Egypt. We have a different system and the grading system, but that was, think about it, was the most sophisticated one to get into, the hardest to get into by far. I did that, got a very, very good grades in that school, and then I started pharmacy, which is something I realized during studying that this is not something that I'm a fan of. But I always believe that I'm gonna love what I work. I'm not gonna work what I love. And I think that's coming also from my family, that it doesn't matter. This is not about going after passion. I actually think if I let myself go after passion, most probably I would have ended directing movies and writing and playing into that space. I think it would have been a little bit of a difficult path, because it's the probability of success in this field is much slimmer. Because I used to write poems, and I was very, very big in that when I was a kid. So I started pharmacy, didn't like it much, but I said, I'm going to push through. If that's my career, that's my career. Which, by the way, it didn't happen. I actually changed careers. So.
So what was it that made you change careers? The reason I'm asking is there are people that are listening to this that maybe are thinking about changing careers. Like maybe they're not as happy. They're not really happy, kind of like you weren't in the pharmacy space with me. I want to give them some advice. I want to give them some experience of what you went through.
So after studying this, when you go out of the pharmacy school, you have two options, right? You're either going to work in the retail space, which is the typical that you're going to find in the US as well, is like the retail space, or you will venture a little bit out, but start working into pharmaceutical companies.
Mm-hmm.
And the retail space, that's when I was about to join my family business and operate with them there, or go into the pharma space or the pharmaceutical company space. And I felt I didn't want to do neither of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have learned at that time that I have some options of choice.
Right.
I come from a family that I don't need to. I mean, I didn't come from a wealthy family, but I come from a above average, above, I would say the upper middle class. But I thought, for that, my brain doesn't think of the scarcity of resources the same way my dad does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why not? I can take some risks. Like I can put a
Mm-hmm.
couple of years and do some risks. So I built a company that is in the distribution industry,
Okay.
which distributing cosmetic products and parapharmaceutical products. So it's kind of an adjacent industry to the pharmacy. And then it became very quickly into an import and export game. We started to produce some products, started exporting it, and the other way around, importing other products. And I operated this. It went, I would say, decently well.
Mm-hmm.
We sold our shares, and my dad is the one who is investing in it. And then we got a partner who invested with us, and then we exited this firm.
Mm-hmm.
When I decided, what, I want to work in big multinational company. And I was a kid, I had a company that has almost 120 employees, and I said, I'm going to sell this, go to AstraZeneca or Glaxo or whatever, and then they're gonna hire me as a manager or a director.
But why? So what was it about? So number one, what made you get into the distribution? What made you start the distribution company?
So I think it was more of a move in the market at that time, that if your family has some pharmacy game, you could expand a little bit into distribution.
Okay.
Because
so you saw an opening.
I saw an opening there. We got a couple of deals that made this company alive. We got a deal with Unilever. We got a deal with P&G to do some distribution. So, so, okay, that's an interesting part. Let's get into this. And then I kind of sent an email out to a company in Turkey out of nowhere that, can I be your distributor in North Africa? And
Mm-hmm.
A week later, the guy replied, and let's meet. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then that's when I got my first deal, and then it grew from there. Because obviously, you do way better margins if you are either producing your products or you are the one who is importing it.
Right.
So that was a way bigger margins. We started to kind of downplay the local distribution, and we become importing these products. Then we started to build. Egypt is very well known for the loofah, which is it's a product that is planted in Egypt that is used for scrubbing and body scrubbing. A fascinating product. But you need to take it, kind of do some manufacturing pieces, cut it into something. We built a brand around that, and we started to export this outside the country.
Mm-hmm.
We started to sell to operators and retailers in UK, in Germany. Some took it to US small retailers.
Mm-hmm.
So then became that's my business. And then I got crazy urgency, and not urgency, but crazy push. I want to play in the multinational game, and again, it wasn't sexy there to be an entrepreneur or a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
It was more, it's like a way to do good, but the sexy part is to work in a corporate.
Right.
And at that time, I didn't really think about the economic impact of it. I was naive.
Mm-hmm.
So I sold my company, and then I applied to every single multinational company I've known, and I got rejected by every one of them. Every one of them. For a 6-month time, they either tell me, you're 24 years old kid who was running 120 employees. We can't give you a management role in a multinational company. You're too young, and we can't get you an entry job because you're kind of an overinflated. Whatever. I think they were wrong. I look at this backward. I think it's just absolutely wrong way to think about hiring.
Mm-hmm.
But everywhere, like everywhere I applied and didn't get a job. And then I think this is the most impactful moment in my career, when I was studying Master of Marketing in the American University. There was a great professor named Ahmed Tahir, great marketing professor, who called me in his office and was like, Amir, there is a great company called McKinsey. They're going to start their office in Cairo, and they're interviewing. And I was like, what is McKinsey? And McKinsey is a consulting firm. And I was like, what is consulting? And he was like, just apply. So I applied. They were at that time they were doing what they call the PST, problem solving test. They got a huge place in the Four Seasons Hotel in Cairo, and they took the entire the very big room that they have there. They kind of made the PST for, I think, 1,000 applicants. And then after this, they sent to them messages. After this, like it took like 3 hours or so, they started sending messages to people that, you didn't pass the test, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get the message. And I was like, did I take the test? Did I forget the paper? I was so nervous. Well, I'm the only one who didn't get the, and then I got that, you passed the test, let's start the interviewing process. And that's the company that gave me the offer. And I think that changed my trajectory of my career completely.
Now, so you were at American University at this time?
I was almost towards the end of the master's degree, but yes.
What made you decide to go to American University? Was it the applying to all the different places and not being hired?
So I started when I got my bachelor degree. We have a mandatory military service in our country, and it's by lottery. So basically, they take the birth dates and they pick the dates where people who were born in that date will do the military service. People who are not born in these dates will not do the military service.
Okay.
And for the year of my birth, it's they picked of that year 12 days, and I was one of them.
Okay.
So all my friends didn't go to the military service. They started their career outright, and I needed to go to the military service. And I felt devastated. I was like, I'm gonna waste 1 year of my life. I felt super. I was like, it was one of the very difficult moments. And then I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm gonna study masters while I'm doing this military service. So I applied to the American University, and they told me you need at least to have 4 years of experience, unless you get a crazy good score in the GMAT. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the GMAT, which is the test that you go for MBA, and I did the
entrance
GMAT
exam,
and I got a 740, and I looked at it. I got 740 out of 800. I felt I'm an idiot. Oh my God, what shall I do? And I was like, whatever. I took the tests, went to the American University to the admission. I went to the admission with a physical paper, and I gave it to them, and they was like, okay, wait a minute. And then they got it, and I was like, look, the test is incredible. I think we're going to do an exception and wait for the final decision. So we're going to go to the email. And I was like, really? This is good? It's just like, that's outstanding. It's like, okay, that's amazing. I mean, you need somewhere above, at that time, I think the scores are getting even higher now. But if you are like above 700, 710, then you are applying to Harvard, the MITs of the world. So it was amazing. So that's why I started. But I was supposed to do it over 2 years, but because I was working very hard, I did my military service. So I actually did it over the course of 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's why I started, pushed it through, did the military service, did the 3 years of my company, and exited it. And towards the very, very end, I started to apply for the companies. That's when I did the McKinsey interviews.
So you get the job with McKinsey.
Yeah.
And what happens after that?
So I was very lucky because I started in the Cairo office, but then I moved and I worked. Most of my career was in Europe
Mm-hmm.
because I have a pharmacy background. So every pharmaceutical project, it was very, very relevant for somebody like me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a medical background. And so I got a lot of projects in the insurance, health insurance, in NHS in UK, pharma companies, pharma expansion in Europe, in Eastern Europe, in Middle East, and they mostly started out of London. So that's where I did most of my McKinsey projects at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was what was a blessing. And I think it was a cheat way that I did, and it did very, very well to me unintentionally, obviously. That you find usually you're a generalist in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
2 3 years, but I kind of like I just found myself into healthcare because of my background, and that's how it helped me actually very, very well there.
So at some point you decide to join MIT.
So
How did that happen?
I did an executive MBA in MIT when I was in Visita
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to do two things. I wanted to get closer to the US tech ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought getting into one of the top schools of the world that are very anchored around technology and data, and that's why I decided to get into this. It was less on the education, which I think it ended up being amazing education system, of course, but it's really getting to build a network around the tech ecosystem of the US,
Mm-hmm.
getting more into what is happening with the AI, which is the conversation about AI start to become something that was around the 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I got into that. So kind of a little bit later, after I built Visita and after actually Visita became a very big player, which is Visita is the healthcare play that I've built in the Middle East. That's when I kind of like I want to venture out, get into play into the big league. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it appears I skipped ahead, and I apologize. So
No,
let's go
not at
back.
all.
So you're with McKinsey for how long?
So I stayed around 3 years.
What was the
3 years.
single most important thing you learned working at McKinsey?
Uh, So I think I was very wild card as the way I think, and I think the biggest learning is you need to deploy factual and data-based mindset rather than an instinct mindset. When you basically shoot from the hip, I think this is the right thing to do. Versus, let's, humble ourselves, go get the data and respect the process. I think that was a huge learning to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite painful, honestly, because it's very difficult to convince yourself that your instinct is wrong or park your instinct, especially that I was the kid who built a great company
Mm-hmm.
just coming out of college. Who are you to tell me that my instincts are wrong?
Right. Right.
And honestly speaking, in most of the cases, your instinct is wrong. So it's like you need to learn that you need to deploy you need to deploy data on that. I think I had a great boss, Paolo De Santis and Corrado Ruffini, two Italian partners who actually the ones who opened the Cairo office. They always gave me this advice and this mentorship. Sometimes they gave it in a very hard way. Sometimes they gave it in a fantastic way. But I think I needed it, and it was well deserved to get this feedback. And I think it changes the way how I think about entrepreneurship, even how to think about new innovation and how to your instinct is important to identify where you want to operate,
Right.
But I don't think it's the right way to think about how to operate.
Right. I got you. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So some real honest to goodness wisdom came from your time at McKinsey.
Absolutely.
So after McKinsey, where do you go?
So after McKinsey, I got my first baby. My wife's family they are from Chicago. The Egyptian Americans from Chicago, and they got the first baby there. And she told me, this McKinsey thing is not going to work with me. The idea that you're traveling around the world, it's just not going to work. So I ended up, I've chosen my wife, and I'm glad that I did. And I left McKinsey for one of my clients. Then it was AstraZeneca. And I joined leading strategy business development in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I would say it was very, very clear to me month or 2 months down the line that corporate is not for me. I think it was too slow for my taste, too political for my wild style. I think it was, I would say I was politically incorrect in every single meeting and every single aspect of way of doing things. I was just like the guy who's like crazy dude. And every single thing there, I think it was great company, but it's definitely not, I would either do entrepreneurship and do, build things from scratch, or do consulting, because consulting has its own aspect of, just give an example. I would say something that's very, very weird to hear. The 9 to 5 thing was too boring for me. I just didn't want to go at 5, and I didn't want to start at 9. Some days I want to start at 7, some days I want to start at 11, and some days I want to stay till 10 p.m. doing things. The whole conformity was not for me.
Right.
Taking.
I'm getting that impression.
Yeah, and like building a deck to approve $10 million investment. And the time frame to build the deck is 3 months, and I can build the deck in 2 days. And I was like, what's I gonna do after the 2 days? I'm done. I was like, I don't need half my team. I can do the job. And I'm like, no, you keep the team. And I was like, okay. So I just felt it's not for me.
Yeah. Too rigid.
Too structured.
Yeah.
And also I want to leave a dent in the world. I think that's also part of and you can't, if you're part of a massive organization. It's just the ship is gonna continue sailing, irrespective of the captain and the staff. It's so big of a ship that it doesn't need much to keep sailing. So I think this feeling made me feel redundant, made me feel not impactful enough. And that is the moment when I was talking to one of my very, very close friends, and his name is Zied, who left McKinsey and started the first venture capital in Egypt. And he said, I started a venture capital firm, and I have a great person who came to me. He's a kind of a great CTO potential. He came to me, he's thinking about SaaS. That was around 2010, 2011. So in the developing countries, software as a service as a concept wasn't still there. And he wanted to do something in accounting, and he is looking for a co-founder. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah. So I met him. His name is Ahmed Badr. He lives in New York now, by the way. And we met with him, and he talked to me about what he wanted to do about SaaS. And I was like, tell me a little bit more. And then we came out with, how about we do this in healthcare? And I really, really hit it off with Badr and with Ziad, and we kind of like, let's build a company. It's very, very interesting. And then I told Ziad, look, I'm not going to resign unless you sign a deal that you're going to invest. So it was crazy ask. And he was like, come on, that doesn't work like this in VCs. You build your company and I'll come invest. And I like you guys, we're going to invest. And I was like, no, I don't trust you. I trust him, but I don't trust that a thing going to happen. I trust him a lot, but I mean, I am not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. So
Yeah, and you're making a life choice here. Okay,
massive life choice.
This is a
Massive.
big deal.
Yeah.
This is a big deal.
And Bedr also at the same timing kind of had the same risk averse mentality. So we agreed on this. We went to his investment committees, to the venture capital investment committee, explaining what we're going to do. Out of all odds, they agreed. We went out, we took the first investment, we resigned, and we started the company that's called Visita.
Wow. We're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this major dent that you're making in the world. We'll be right back. Did you know there's an app that has no side effects that allows you to use sound waves to tell your brain what you want it to do? It's called newcalm.com, and it's amazing. It literally uses sound waves. If you want to tell your brain to go to sleep, if you want to tell your brain to recover, if you want to tell your brain to put you in peak physical state, if you want to tell your brain to focus, if you want to tell your brain to take a power nap, you can do all of these things and more with newcalm.com. Go to newcalm.com today, promo code Mike15. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go there today. And we're back. We're talking about your life and your life story, and specifically, you just started a new company with a venture capital firm investing in it. A friend of yours works at this venture capital firm. You went in front of the investment committee. They said, yes, you started the company. And it was a SaaS company. It was service as software, right? And so talk about how that went. So you start the company, and obviously you've got some pressure, right? You've got a VC that's looking for some major turnaround, some major results. VCs don't just arbitrarily invest in companies. They invest in companies expecting performance. So talk about that for a second.
So in that time, the whole VC ecosystem in the Middle East was very nascent and very, very young.
Okay.
So finding an entrepreneur and a CTO, CEO and CTO who are willing to come together, build a startup with such backgrounds was kind of very, very, very rare. I would say we were one of the first 3 or 4 teams that have been built in the entire region.
Wow.
Very, very rare.
How did you meet the VC guy?
He was my friend at McKinsey.
Got it. Okay. So you guys knew each other from McKinsey.
Yeah. So that was a major risk we're taking. Because we're not building a business that's going to make profit tomorrow morning. We're building for a tech innovation, and we're taking significant risk. So when we started, and it kind of didn't feel that actually the investor is an investor. He actually felt as a co-founder.
Awesome.
Like he used to spend hours in our office. The 3 of us, we play around with the whiteboard, changing things and going after the market.
So he was invested in your success more. I mean, absolutely. And I mean, what I'm saying is invested, meaning his reputation was on the line, right? In addition to the fact that they had invested capital in the business.
His reputation, his career.
Yeah.
Because we were his first or second investment.
Right.
And there were no much investments in the market. It's not like there are a lot of people who want to build companies. Nobody want to build company. Nobody understands what we're supposed to do. It's very nascent market. It's like the 90s in the US. So it's really that's how it was. We started building software as a service. We decided we were going to go after the small clinics in the Middle East. And that was a very, very rough start.
Really?
We built a great product, but it was very difficult to convince the healthcare sector to use it. And we stayed course for 2 years until we made a major pivot. And we basically moved from being a SaaS player into the marketplace, where instead of becoming a B2B, I sell software to the healthcare players or the healthcare providers. We went to the consumers and we told the consumers, if you want to book a doctor, or you want to book any healthcare service, come to our platform and you're going to find them. You find the rating and reviews, and you find the available slots that you can make the booking. We went to the healthcare providers and told them, pay us money when we send you a patient.
There you go.
Massive change, massive pivot. And that we've been, very, very slow growth. And then when we introduced the B2C angle, we've seen the hockey stick.
Gotcha. So what was the hang up?
So I think the biggest thing when it's what's the, I've met, I've been to a tour and I've met Tony Fadell, who's the CEO and the founder of Nest that exited later on to Google. And I had a very quick cup of coffee with him, and he asked me why doctors would want to use your software. And I said, it's an amazing medical records system. They would put the medical records of their patient. And he said, why? Why they would want to do the medical records of the patient? I said, it allows them to provide great medical quality. And I said, why do they want to provide a great medical quality? And I said, because that's the job. And I said, that's absolutely not the job. The job is to make money. And if there's no reason for them, if your system is not going to help them save money or generate revenues
or make more money, right?
Make money, so make more money or save or save costs,
right?
They're not going to use it. And that,
and this is a guy who's not in the field.
No, it's
he makes thermostats, for the love of Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Go find somebody who's not like this, like you are, right? And sit and have coffee with them. I think that's the lesson here, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And be open, telling them,
listen,
it's just not working. So
right.
don't oversell yourself, so you can really get a real feedback. And I think the more important thing than asking is the willingness to change direction. I think it's very easy to say than to do it. It's a very difficult thing to do.
How hard is it to accept it?
Yeah.
Right. And then once you accept it, how hard is it to pivot?
Yeah.
Because you have to have a conversation with yourself. You're the CEO. You're the king of your deal. Right.
Yeah.
And you have to come back and go, okay, we missed it. Right. We missed the mark. We need to pivot. We need to get, you with me? I think that's incredibly important for the people that are listening to this podcast to understand the lesson that you learned, because I'll bet you dollars to donuts going forward, if you have somebody give you that kind of advice in the future, you're going to pivot much faster. It's going to be much less of a struggle because you're like, hey, right? I just figured out the solution to success. This is cool.
Yeah, 100%. And the difficult part of this is, think about it. Yesterday, you were going to your team telling them, we're doing amazing. This idea is amazing. We're gonna go to moon with this idea.
Right.
They were like, yes, we are following you on this. And then next day you're saying, oh, by the way, I was wrong. We're going to change path. That is the most difficult thing.
That has got to be excruciating.
It's
right.
It's honestly super humbling.
So how did that go? How did that conversation go with your team?
So the one thing that we have learned, because the first 2 years were very rough.
Yeah.
We're humbled.
Yeah.
So we started to have conversations with the team. So for example, the sales guy, we start to have conversations. Oh, Steve's, that's not working. What do you think is going to work? So we start.
What are we missing? Yeah.
To pave the way that something needs to happen. Something needs to change. And I think when we came to the B2C, and also I would never forget the B2C thing. It's Badr came to me, our CTO and my co-founder, and he told me, look, we have 2 months of a runway. Mm-hmm. How about we do booking for healthcare? And I will never forget this. We were in his office and I was like, Badr, it's a stupid idea, but I'm beaten. Mm-hmm. So you know what? Let's do it. I'm gonna follow this stupid idea. Like exactly, that's word by word what I told him.
So I know what you're saying, but is it okay if we talk about this for just a second?
Of course.
Because there are people that are listening. The reason I'm asking is there are people who are listening to this podcast that are not clear what runway is. So you're burning cash.
Yeah.
Okay. You're burning cash. You're burning capital. And that's the capital that the VC has invested. You're running out of cash. You're running out of capital. That's what we call runway in the business sector, right? And so you're literally at the end of the runway. You only have a couple of months of cash left. You're almost at the point where the VC goes, this is not working. We have a problem. You never want to get there with a VC, venture capital firm. You never want to get there, right? You never want to get to the end of that runway and then have to go back and go, we blew it. We didn't launch it as fast as we thought we would, that kind of thing. Is that fair?
That's absolutely fair. I will add another.
I'd love it if you would.
Another layer. Actually, the 2-month runway, which is paying for those who were not from the VC money.
Okay.
Because we are actually done with the VC money. We have burned it all.
Awesome.
At that time, it's actually, I sold my car. Badr did something like this as well. It was a moment of, it wasn't a joke. Like it was
you're going bankrupt.
It was the absolute lowest moment of my entire career.
Yeah.
There's nothing compared to these days. Very difficult days. We depleted all our savings, and we were very successful people. We depleted most of our savings. Now we're even selling our cars. And you imagine what's happening at our home with my wife and his wife. It wasn't a joke. And we were, and again, we were getting job offers left, right, and center.
Yeah.
I was getting job offers in Canada. I was getting job offers in the US. He's getting job offers in the US. It was like we could easily say, you know what? It's just not working. Shut this down and just move out. And and I don't know what was in our minds. I think to become an entrepreneur, you need to be you need to have a significant delusional way of how to look at the world. And I think that's part of what happened there.
So do you think it's delusion, or do you think it's just grit? Like you grew up in a pretty gritty area of the world.
Yeah.
Okay. And you watched your dad, I'll bet, grit through a lot of stuff. Your dad didn't quit, right? He had that pharmacy for 20 plus years before he decided to stop his corporate job and just get into the pharmacy business. So I would say that you're modeling what your dad showed you, what he exhibited, right? Which is that sort of, I'm not going to quit type mentality. Would you agree with that?
I would agree completely. I think the grit, and I'm not going to quit, and I'm going to keep pushing.
Yeah.
But you also need to have an unrealistic belief in what you want to deliver.
Yeah.
If you are in the innovation space.
I agree.
The unrealistic belief is something that I usually didn't agree with this term, but now, looking retroactively, it's actually very, very important.
Yeah.
When I'm building a pharmacy business, you're not introducing innovation.
Right.
So that is more of a operational excellence, sales excellence, and
transactional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're introducing innovation, so just to give you an example. When you tell somebody, I'm going to rate and reviews physicians, and people will stop, that was a big joke. Like you will stop asking your uncle or your mother about a good psychiatrist or a good gynecologist, and you're going to ask us. Do you imagine what people said? It was like, what are you talking about? Are you an idiot or something?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to use the system. It's just not going to work. And nobody, it's so, and the things that we used to hear, it's so intimate to get to get
a provider,
the doctor to go to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take it from a website.
Yeah.
And it was our very strong. So that I think there's a little bit of an unrealistic view about the world that you believe is actually realistic.
Yeah.
But everybody else thinks it's unrealistic. It is always the case like that.
Right.
So we put this in the market, and doctors start to subscribe. Patients, and we didn't even have a website. Patients used to make a phone call, just a phone number that we said, if you want to book a doctor, call us. So they call us, and we start to put a script, and what's your area, what's your zip code, what specialty do you want, and then we put a group of young pharmacists just coming out of college or interns to take the phone calls. And then we all of a sudden found ourselves in business, and the number of phone calls happening are crazy. We built a super crazy, stupid, buggy website for people to make the booking. It worked, and then we're in business. So
Crazy.
that's how
What a crazy story, but how important, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the most vital stories, I think, of your entire career,
Absolutely.
because you learned so much
Yeah.
and it humbled you, right? To a
Yeah.
point where you're like, wow.
Mm.
The beautiful thing, though, that I think people should take from this is you didn't quit.
Absolutely.
You could have. You were really close to the end, right? You were super close to, I'm thinking about VC cash. You were super close to bankruptcy.
Yeah, of course.
That was the end of your runway.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bankruptcy even as a person, by the way, not only as a company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Incredible.
we took this, then it became, again, we started to grow from here, grow, expand from one country to another, city after city after city, until we ended up in a major transaction with a big private equity firm. And that's when, again, the Visita story started to kind of become more of a corporate play.
Mhm.
And that's towards the end, I did my executive MBA in MIT, and I decided I want to play in the big league.
Yeah.
And we had a family in Chicago. I have my friends in Boston, and we have family in LA.
Mhm.
And I decided to look at this, and I'm like, I want to be close to my customers.
Mhm.
So I want the most populated area
Mhm.
out of the three options in front of us. And I decided that I got to go to LA because it's the most populated area.
Right.
I tell the story as like, we love the beach, but in reality, it was that. It
Mhm.
is, I want to build very close to my customers, and it's part of the learnings. It's amazing to be close to the ecosystem,
Mhm.
which is either Boston or San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I decided I'm not gonna go with the norm, which is the
Right.
typical of my style. And I'm gonna build closest to my customers because I want to build great businesses.
Mhm.
And then we can see what's going to happen with the ecosystem and the funding, which I was planning to fund it myself at that time. So that's the the reason why I decided to choose the LA or the South California as a region. And obviously we have family here as well, so that's why I ended up being in South California. So
You
that's what,
always knew you were going to do this.
yeah. I always knew I'm gonna do this as what? Let's move to the US or
Well, the MIT thing. So you go to MIT, right? And you earn your MBA, correct?
yes,
And you chose MIT because of the technical aspect, right?
100%. I did
Top
them, of
technical college probably, or top technical university probably in the world.
course. It has a very big brand equity,
Mhm.
so it helps you open the doors, and it's also fascinating ecosystem that helps and supports and guides. Very strong technical aspect because that's the space that I want to operate in.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of like gather every single thing that I've known, and instead of continue sailing through in the Middle East where I know everybody and everybody knows me,
Mhm.
to go to a place where I'm gonna start. It's not from scratch, but I'm definitely gonna start in a starting spot that is way different than if I'm continuing in the Middle East. But in my mind, I don't want to. I think I've done well in the Middle East, and I really want to play in the big league. Um, that's why I decided to move in the U.S. And I think it's an amazing country. I think it's the best place I believe that people should live or do business in. And that's when I decided to make the move.
What's the single most important thing you learned attending MIT?
Uh, so the so I'm taking some time to answer this question because MIT came in with there were things that I'm expecting are going to get out of MIT, and there are very different group of things that I took out.
Okay.
Can
you explain that for me?
Of course. The thing that I was expecting is like, I'm going to put the brand, MIT Sloan, the top 2 or 3 schools in the world. And that's what all I cared about, honestly. But in reality it is extremely, extremely sophisticated innovation hub.
Okay.
People build crazy science, crazy innovation, like really, it's out of this world. And how they deploy science in world problem is fascinating. And I think that has made me start thinking of technology and science needs to be really deep and deep and deep. And it's not only about coming up with just a business idea, but there are a lot of things that the world needs that starts from technology and innovation there that you can deploy and to fix a world problem. And things doesn't need always to be super simplistic.
So it changed your paradigm.
Absolutely, a complete change of the paradigm. To do that, you can do that alone. You need to assemble teams of very, very smart people around you who are most probably going to be smarter than you, and you need to accept that so you can actually build something that is worth building in such a very competitive market, and actually has the chance to succeed.
Gotcha.
So I think it's learnings that you've been accumulating in your life, but really building great team so that you can actually build great products is a very big thing that I've learned from MIT. Very, very big thing. And the team is not always employees or co-founders. It's mentors, advisors, people that you go knock their door, asking them about how to do this and how to do that. I think it's again, teams they come at all sorts of things, board members and all sorts of things.
So my son attended and graduated from the University of Nebraska at Lincoln.
Of course.
And one of the things that I told him was he graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering and a minor in biomedical engineering.
Yeah.
And he told me the reason. I asked him why the minor, and he said, because Dad, I want what I do for a living to help people. I mean, this kid has the sweetest heart,
It's
right?
amazing.
And he's so smart, unbelievably smart. Gets it from his mother, right? He's unbelievable.
I'm sure you have a say in that. So.
He's unbelievably smart. So I said to him, I said, the University of Nebraska is going to teach you a ton, right? You're going to learn a lot about math, about engineering, about all this stuff, biomed. I said, the real key to the University of Nebraska is the network.
Absolutely.
Okay. Talk about that as it relates to MIT. Would you agree with that phrase as it relates to where you went to school?
100%. I think when I mentioned the team, when I mentioned the people that you work with, that you can take these words and put network. You can put your friends and peers and colleagues that you built there.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you find yourself in a blender of all sorts of life, of people coming from all sorts of lives with very different backgrounds. And each one of the people that you meet has his own very unique story and recipe of success and failure. So it's crazy learning experience, and honestly, unlimited amount of opportunities that who we could work with to do what. I think that was the absolute most impactful and most I would say unparalleled outcome that I got from attending MIT.
Yeah. I just wanted people to understand, MIT is an amazing, amazing place, and it's world renowned for a reason.
Yeah.
I just wanted people to understand the value that you bring from it, right? Why you choose to go to school there. And then now that you've been to school there, when you look back, what the value is that you brought from it. So I appreciate you playing with me there. I
No,
just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that I got that out of you.
no, we hear a lot. Actually, Mike, I think you're spot on spending a bit of time on this, because I think it's very, very important.
Me too. Yeah.
We are seeing in today's world a lot of people talking about, school is dead,
Mhm.
colleges is dead. I don't think we go to these colleges and these universities for the education. And I'm not saying that the education is not good. I think the education is incredible, but you're going there because you're learning from your friends and your peers and your professors, not in the classroom setup.
Yeah.
It's every single thing outside the classroom. It's
1000%. It's a shared experience.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've been through it together, right? You'll have a strong relationship with your partner from that previous firm for the rest of your life, because you guys got very close to the end of the runway together. You went through a crisis together, and you'll never forget it. You'll never forget what you learned. You'll always be close with, you'll always have that together. You with me? That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. The same thing happens in college. You're pushed to your limit. If the college is a decent college, and certainly MIT's the top of the chain, right? They'll challenge you, and you'll go through trials and tribulations and that type of thing, but you go through it together.
Yep.
Right? Like I had a gentleman on that's a former Navy SEAL, and I asked him, I said, how is it possible that you made it through BUDS, basic underwater demolition?
Yeah.
Right? That's the one that there's the single greatest attrition rate of anything else in the military. Nobody quits more than they quit there.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is it possible? I asked him, how is it possible that you made it through there? And on top of it, his son, when I interviewed him last year, his son was 2 weeks away from starting BUDS himself.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said to me, he said, it's the essential thing, the one thing that you understand is that they're trying to drive you out, but what they're really doing is they're driving you together. And you're coming together with these people, and you're forming a team. And together as a team, you can take anything. It doesn't matter what they deliver. You with me?
I can't
That's
agree
the thing
more.
I want people to understand. Going to college, and specifically MIT, Stanford, all these different places, people think of it the wrong way. They need to be thinking of it like, here's the thing. Did you know Google was a MBA assignment?
Yeah.
Google was an assignment.
Yeah.
I mean, hello, right? The thing that I want people to understand is it's the bond that you form, right? And it's the network that you create. You'll know those people for the rest of your life.
Completely.
Is that fair?
I couldn't agree more.
I just want people to understand that they may be looking at this the wrong way. And I'm not saying college is for everybody. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is my son has friends that he'll have for the rest of his life, that no matter what happens in his life, he can pick up the phone and those people will be there.
I agree.
Okay. They'll be friends for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
We were talking the other day. He was just down here visiting, and we were talking the other day about a lady who he was invited. He couldn't come home the 4.5 years that he was at Nebraska. He couldn't come home for Thanksgiving because his classes literally ran until later in the day on Wednesday. So there wasn't any time.
Yeah.
He'd have to fight everybody and their brother to get back on Wednesday night. So he wasn't able really to come back for Thanksgiving, all those. So this first year he was there, they invite this friend of his from school. Again, here we go, right? This friend of his from Nebraska invited him to their house for Thanksgiving. And he met this lady who's actually an immigrant from Afghanistan. Okay. And she basically took him under her wing and mothered him for the next 4.5 years.
Wow.
Okay. That woman is a saint, Amir. I mean, you cannot, I'm not kidding you. She loved that boy and still does to this day, like he's her own. And as a father, it's very hard to communicate to people how much that means to you.
Oh, of course.
Right? That he has that support structure around him, that he has that person. That kid got COVID and she visited him every single day, even though he had COVID.
Wow.
Okay. Every single day. She not only did that, she washed his sheets. She disinfected his entire place, rubbed, wiped the place down. I mean, this woman absolutely cared for this kid like she was his, like he came from her, like, right? Like she was his biological mother. Does that make sense?
Of course.
I just want people to understand that there's more to the college experience than what people realize. That's all I wanted to get out there, because I feel like it's vital that people understand that there's something there that they're not seeing, and I want them to see it. I want them to hear it. Okay.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
I agree.
So thank you for helping me do that. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for opening it, and it's very interesting, honestly, to hear the side of your son's story about it. I think it's great to actually have such a very rich experience in college that's not only around what you're going to see in the campus, but the friends and the friends of the friends that you're going to build because of this starting point. So.
People talk about college and they talk about how much they abused alcohol and how they did this and how they did all this crazy stuff, right? When really it's about the friendships you make. It's about the network that you establish. It's about so much more than the things that people talk about all the time, because it's just not that, you know what I mean? So anyway, so let's talk about your company currently. So you started your company. What did you start it after you graduated from MIT?
Yeah. So I started InVitro Capital, and I think from the name, which it's not a healthcare game, but it starts with the healthcare because of the healthcare background.
Right.
The idea of InVitro Capital is because of the name. We are kind of building companies under controlled conditions, as if it's the in vitro kind of a concept.
I got you. I love it. Okay.
That's the idea. And we basically say there is a huge opportunity that we're seeing in the world around us in artificial intelligence and how it's going to change industries. And we're also seeing at the same time that the typical traditional venture capital model is not the best way of building these companies unless you're going to go into the foundational aspects of AI, like building the language models, like the LLM models, like OpenAI or Claude or whatever. Yes, I think the VC has a huge gain and aspect there, but we're not seeing the traditional VC model would do great in building the AI solutions or the AI softwares and the AI applications. Go ahead.
Okay, can I stop for just a second? Because I apologize. I need people to hear this.
Sure.
So when you talk about OpenAI, when you talk about these different things, because you just said a bunch of things that I don't understand. Okay. So sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. Right? Not at all.
So can we go back and talk about those things and why the VC thing is not necessary? Talk about that for just a second. So why is there a disconnect?
So the VC, you want to invest $1 and get it as a $10.
Right.
The idea is I choose, let's assume 10 companies.
Okay.
And they're all introducing very, very wild innovation.
Okay.
And I give $1 to each one of them.
Right.
And 6 of these companies are going to shut down. It's not going to work.
Why?
Because you're doing wild innovation. It's innovation. Sometimes the innovation is working. Sometimes the innovation doesn't work.
Gotcha. Okay. So
that's
it's risky.
The whole idea of the innovation.
Risky. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very risky investment. So 6 to 7 out of the 10 are just going to go completely bankrupt.
Okay.
So now, but you have invested $10. One,
Mhm.
one, 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 one. So
Mhm.
$7 out of the 10 gone.
Mhm.
That leaves you with 3 companies where you invested in the 3 companies, $3. I'm giving super simplistic examples.
That's fine. That's
Don't want
what
people-
we want. That's what we want.
Super simplest example. There are tons of things, but again, the $3 that you have invested in the 3 companies should get you back at least the entire $10.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
The reality is the math and the statistics says out of these 3 companies, 2, maybe 1.5 returns only $2 because it succeeds, but not crazy successful.
Okay.
That leaves you with 1 company, maybe 2 companies that they should get you back $10.
Okay.
But wait a minute, the $10 happens over the course of 10 years.
Yeah.
So if somebody gives you the money to invest, you give me $10 today, and I return them to you $10 after 10 years, it's a complete disaster.
It's a failure.
It's a complete disaster.
Absolutely.
The least you want to get me back is $50.
Right.
So you want this 1 company to return $50.
Right.
And they have invested $1. So VC's structure is, I'm going to take wild risks, and I'm only going to build companies that I believe it will return 50x returns,
Okay.
or 20x returns, or that's the model of the VC.
Okay.
Because in the previous world, 2 or 3 years ago, it was very difficult to build a software company.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need a lot of money to hire engineers, you need a lot of money to hire product people, designers, and it needs a lot of money to do that.
Right.
All of a sudden today, that's not the case. It's easy to build companies because the different AI technologies that are popping up left, right, and center is making it way cheaper and way easier and way faster.
Okay.
So what happens is you don't need any more to raise $5 million to build a company.
Okay.
So instead of having 1 Uber, today, if you think about every industry, you're going to find 10 Ubers and 20 Ubers. So what's happening is what we call a fragmentation of the industries.
Right.
It's not 1 company that can eat it all. There are so many other players. And hence, if you come in as a VC, you would rarely find the 1 to the 50 return.
Gotcha.
The 1 for $50. So
because there's too many.
Too many companies.
There's a crowded field. I got you. I got you.
So we need an investment innovation mindset to build these companies with significantly less amount of money than what the VCs would use to build, so that you can return great returns to people rather than wasting your money with the traditional VC model.
Gotcha.
Does this mean that the VC model it doesn't have a play? Of course not. I think it's a fascinating way, and I think it's a very, very strong asset class. But the VC model now are investing in things like OpenAI.
Okay.
Because guess what? There wouldn't be 30 of the OpenAI. There would be 3 or 4.
Right.
And that's fantastic for a VC space.
Right.
So that's how we think about it.
Okay.
I hope I explained it.
That helps tremendously. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I mean, I want people to understand sort of what the complexity is, right? Because this is a different world. Like you're saying, this is a different world we're entering into. Yeah. And a lot of people have heard about the AI thing, but they think about it in terms of a robot that's going to turn on them, right? Yeah. And it's, I mean, I'm being honest. This is what people are telling me, right? And it's like, no, right? And it fascinates me how AI operates and how they can be applied to what's going on in business. And I had a guest on 6 months ago, and he's world renowned in e-commerce marketing. And I asked him, I said, you're an expert at this. Tell me about AI. He said, you know what? If you're a company and you're not currently up to speed with what AI can do, you need to take one person today and dedicate them full time to all they do for the next year is research AI and how it can apply to your company. Otherwise, 12 months from now, you're going to wake up obsolete.
Oh, absolutely. I think we are seeing a level of disruption to our world that is equivalent to the moment of inventing electricity.
Wow. That's
Uh,
a powerful statement.
I think our generation and the previous generation haven't seen something as powerful and wide. We have seen Uber disrupting the taxi industry.
Right.
We have seen Amazon disrupting the retail industry.
Mm-hmm.
But we've never seen every single industry at the same time being disrupted exactly at the same time by one technology.
Right.
That's what's happening with AI.
Yeah.
It's impacting everything. And it's not only impacting companies, it's impacting humans. It's impacting our cars that we're going to drive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the start of the robo-taxis, Amazon coming with Zoox, Google doing Waymo. Driving is going to be impacted. How we're going to buy things is going to be impacted. How we're going to talk to each other is going to be impacted. How we're going to build our house is going to be impacted. There's the robots. How we're going to do agriculture and plant. Every single thing around us is impacted by AI. I think the depth and the breadth of the impact is honestly incomprehensible.
Yeah.
And I think that is amazing because it opens up a lot of opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
but it also happens at a very, very fast pace that makes it a little bit scary at some time. Because we see
it's change.
It changes very, very fast.
But, and consumers don't like change.
Yeah.
Especially rapid change.
We as humans, we don't like change.
Yeah.
Consumers, we as humans, anywhere in any aspects, it's going to impact the choice of our kids, what they're going to study, what kind of jobs they want to do in the future. Mm-hmm. It's every single thing is changing at a very, very fast pace, and I think that's why we built InVitro Capital. We think we want to be at the forefront of this massive, massive innovation that humanity is seeing. We don't want to operate into the foundational aspect of it. We want to operate into the application aspect of it. We love the intersection with the different services. We love the AI with healthcare. We love AI with real estate. We love AI and home repair. And these the real impact of things that we see in our day-to-day lives. Yeah. And that's what we are building for and partnering with to do.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So you started the company when?
So we started our first portfolio company started before the entire overarching thing. So we started AllRx, which is an AI-driven online pharmacy.
Okay.
Or AI-enabled online pharmacy. And when this succeeded, and this was focusing on long-term care, so it focused on senior care and the elderly care. Mm-hmm. And when this succeeded, this started in 2021.
Okay.
And we kind of built InVitro Capital. Based on the success of our first portfolio company. So we kind of established InVitro Capital in 2024.
Okay. So what's your experience been since 2024, since you started?
So it's so we started assembling the team. I think when we started, it was very, very difficult to hire. Mm-hmm. I think now it's much better. Again, much better, but again, there's some areas that's very difficult, some areas that's easier. But I think hiring took some time. Building really great teams took some time. But also there was a lot of a spillover effect from our first company, positive spillover effect, that it started to build a very good network of people around it, customers using it. So we launched this next company, which was AllCare, which is a medical concierge and to long-term care facilities, to assisted living and skilled nursing facilities. And we also provide different healthcare providers. We provide primary care, physicians. All of these are AI enabled. Mm-hmm. So it's very, very affordable and significantly better quality of care. We also do a company called Osta, which is in the home repair, where we help homeowners, if they want to do any repair in their houses, they can take a video and pictures, so we can actually analyze and diagnose the situation.
Okay.
And then we send technicians to do the repair at significantly lower cost, because of we're using this AI in different pieces. And that was the third portfolio company. And the fourth portfolio company was this company called Curenta, which is a software to assisted living facility. It's another healthcare play. And I think that's the journey. That's where we are today.
So you started those companies using InVitro Capital.
Yeah. So InVitro Capital, think of it, it's the builder. It
Right.
builds these companies. And then we have a fund that we invest in these companies.
Gotcha.
So we come up with the idea, and we start trying the idea in the market. If the idea sticks and somebody is interested, and there are customers who say, you know what, we love it, want to use it, we start assembling a team around this idea, and we invest in these companies for them to grow.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
That's the idea. So think about it, it's a builder and a fund. The builder come up with the ideas. If it works, the fund invests the money.
Gotcha. So if somebody's listening to this and they want to work with InVitro Capital, how can they do that?
So they can reach out to us. They can reach out to me on X. They can reach out to me and DM me there. They can send me on LinkedIn. They can send emails, or to any one of our team. We're very responsive. The most important thing is, what can they do?
Right.
Like, why would I, like, who you are? How can you help me? I think if you write me 2 sentences, how you can help, that's when it's very easy for us to think, oh, that's very interesting. We can actually start having conversation about X or Y.
So if they're coming to you and they're talking to you, are they coming to you for a job, or are they coming to you with a business idea?
Anything. If you have a business idea, send me what you want in your ideas. If you want to, you don't need to look at the jobs that we have and that we are advertising. Tell me what you want to do. I'm a very great I operate in the real estate space, very excited about it, and I'm thinking about doing something in that space, and I'm thinking about 1 or 2.
Right.
I don't want you to have a company. If you have an idea, come up with the idea with us, and we can start thinking with you about how to make this idea a company. That's why we have a builder.
Gotcha.
We even sometimes say, if you have a pitch deck, you're late for us. So if you have an idea and you have a space, the one thing that we want is why you and this industry and this space. I don't need a very specific idea, but I want a space. I want somebody to come and tell me, I love, for example, the real estate industry is I'm a realtor, and I have an idea in the real estate brokerage around XYZ, not at the very specific part of it. And that's something we would love to engage in a conversation with. Or I'm a great salesperson, I'm a great business development, and I have done X, Y, and Z, and I can help this company you have, or this company you have. So be as specific as you can, and you'll find us very, very responsive. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So what does tomorrow look like for InVitro Capital?
We've closed our first fund, and it's a small fund. I think we're gonna actually build a bigger fund towards the end of this year, to continue expanding more and more companies. And again, we want to continue looking at industries that has the intersection of the service and the AI, and building great products in these industries. We want to partner with the best minds in the country. So if anybody who feels that we can do something together, send us a note. Where again, our team is very, very responsive. I actually By the way, I'm the most responsive out of my team. I think my VP of marketing hates me for that. Like anybody sends me a message, I reply, and I get a meeting. I was like, just you need to stop doing these kind of.
VP of marketing's like, we need to structure this, right?
Yeah, exactly. But my VP of marketing, her name is Melinda Joseph, and she was like, stop sending these invites and meetings. It's like, so yeah.
I love that, man. I love that. That is so cool. So now you've been on the podcast, and if people start reaching out to you and you start responding right away, we just dug a deeper hole for you with your VP of marketing.
Exactly.
We might be going backwards, right?
Yeah.
I love that, man. I love that. Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we wrap up?
Mike, thank you very much. Incredible podcast. I think I have never said so much.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's a bigger compliment than you can possibly imagine. And I cannot thank you enough for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. This has been amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thanks a lot, Mike. I really enjoyed it. And thank you very much for the invite.
Thanks, buddy. Can I ask you a question? Did you know that there's a technology that uses sound waves that'll tell your brain what to do? There literally is. It's called newcalm.com. It can tell your brain to heal, tell your brain to sleep, tell your brain to do all kinds of things. It can get you fired up. It can be a pre-workout. Newcalm.com, and the promo code is Mike15. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at the Mike Litton Experience.